Hi friends, this is Mangalaprathaban talking from India. I'm going to talk to you about the importance of online assessments in our online coaching programs. Most of us who are assessing our students ought to know that every student who participates in the process of learning has to have some idea about what goes on. So there should be a strategic revision of the course inputs by looking at what the learners have learned. It could be done on several occasions. It could be very informal or formal. I would say it is quite easy to make sure that people get to know it informally first. So any informal assessment tool that we make use of to get to know where they stand in the process of learning or the learning chart. So mapping the learning process is the first step that one has to do as a course developer. Second step that you can possibly think of is to make sure that they can recall the lessons before they start the subsequent sessions or the subsequent phases of your learning program. Third, you should also keep in mind any assessment has to have some feedback. So the feedback-based assessment is something that we don't have at all most of the time. Only corporates follow it. A few coaching companies do that. And I'm sure even in our education system, we can have kind of feedback-based assessment. Assessment could be very systematic, blended with the learning process. Mostly, we prefer formative assessment tools to see where the learners progress or what sort of strategies do they really pick up in using all the inputs that they have received over a period of time. The learning inputs, or rather learners' interest in cognizing the learning inputs or applying the learning inputs, could be verified, rather tested, on several occasions by creating opportunities for them to make use of all that they have learned. This is an important step towards making learning an easy process for all of them. I would say self-access learning is an extremely important strategic point that we have to consider at this point of time, as the world is affected with pandemic and people do not have access to direct learning sessions. Hence, this self-access learning would support them in a very big way to get to know how good they could learn something or how well they can really improve upon certain skills that they have tried to acquire over a period of time. They should also look at the way in which they have been learning. So they could strategize their learning process with specialist orientation or a consultation with a learning strategist or a learning specialist. So most of us who are into online coaching specialize in providing strategies for the learners, identify the learner's strengths, learning pace, etc., and customize the learning programs for them. So this would possibly support them or help them or encourage them to do the best with whatever they have learned over a period of time. So most of our online coaching programs are easily available for those who are interested to improve their language proficiency, but the target-oriented learning process or the target-oriented learning becomes better only if we have clarity in our mind about the learning objectives. How do we progress towards achieving a particular objective that we have tried to work over a period of time? So understanding all that we learn is as important as applying all that we have learned over a period of time. Some of us find it extremely difficult to apply all that we have learned. It is primarily because of learners' diffidence or lack of confidence or motivation. Sometimes self-doubt or fear of the learner or even inhibition of the learner or hesitation of the learner could result in such a complex scenario. How do you overcome this? Learner proficiency can be easily, achieved or rather accomplished with a systematic progress in learning, which is integrated with assessment. So integrated learning, assessment integrated learning ought to be our target. In other words, assessment has to be a continuous process. It has to be a systematic process. There are a lot of automated online assessments which are possible, even in the blended training programs that we offer, wherein the learners get to know their progress on their own. And it could possibly help them to have some sort of a reflective learning. So I would suggest reflective learning is essentially the best possible method that we can ever promote to make learners understand their progress, help them to reflect on all that they have learned to extend that in their real life usage. In other words, application of all that they have learned in real life usage can be possible only with that. So I would say reflective learning programs are of great importance. So online assessment tools ought to really promote the very idea of reflective learning. And it is the duty of the teacher to make sure that learners get time to reflect on whatever they have learned. So you'll have to manage your time in such a way in every session. Whenever you progress from one particular phase to another phase of learning, ask your students about how well they have progressed. And please ask certain questions to make them think and respond to it in order to assess where they stand or what sort of progress they have achieved. Or is there anything that they have missed out? Maybe micro skill mapping in learning can become an easier process only if we precipitate the process of reflective learning and reflective teaching, because reflective teaching is associated with reflective learning. The teacher has to have some time to reflect on whatever he or she has already taught. So this would support, in a way, reflective teaching. So reflective teaching is also about how well do you get to know the actual progress of learning, which might have happened in the subconscious manner. So please remember, it is not just conscious learning, it could be even the subconscious process of assimilation. So learning and assimilation of the target language can be assessed with systematic online testing tools, which could uh, precipitate the so-called idea of self-access learning. It could result in great success, hence most of the corporates opt for it. I wish it happens even at the lower level, even at the tertiary education level. So we can possibly mute over such innovations. So innovative tools of testing are essential for us to think in terms of making learners have a kind of an enjoyable process of learning, where assessment is not at all going to be frightening. Assessment is going to be a very conducive form of understanding one's learning progress. It helps them to map their learning progress. It also supports them to think beyond their level of competency, and it should ensure that there should be some kind of a competency mapping, which also provides them a vision, or rather a roadmap towards achieving a better level of proficiency. And I'm sure this video might have helped you in a big way to improve yourself, and I'm sure you can think about watching my other videos. If you find this video quite useful, please subscribe this particular video and try to work on your micro areas of learning. And in case you need any help or support, please call me or email me. I'm there to support you with all my online videos. And I have been part of various corporate assessments, so I can support you to assess your students as well. Hope you had a great time. Subscribe this video. Don't forget to press the notification button and watch the other videos as well. Have a great day. Enjoy your day. Bye bye. See you.